Grids. Every year, thousands of families lose their power from weather-related outages. Number 5, a solar power generator provides powerful backup insurance and peace of mind. Folks, I really believe in the solar power generators offered by Solutions from Science, one of my oldest sponsors. You can get more information at www.mysolarbackup.com. That's mysolarbackup.com. Remember, the government doesn't own the sun, so go to mysolarbackup.com or call 1-877-327-0365.
Waging war on corruption. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Coming up in the hour, we're going to have the one, the only, Jim Tucker, and the editor of American Free Press, Mark Anderson, on with us to give you the latest inside scoop on Bilderberg coming up this year. Right now, we're talking to James Stewart of Rawsome Foods there in Southern California. You saw the images of the oranges, the papayas, the mangoes, the milk, the chicken being thrown in the back of the truck to be taken to the landfill because they dare sell organic food that people grew on their own farms and brought in as a collective to then sell. Because the government has to be over that. The same FDA that raised the level of radiation and said it was safe, just like the EPA did. Oh, radiation level goes up from Fukushima? It's safe. We just said so. DU's safe. But for heaven forbid you drink raw milk. The thing is, this is totally legal. They're now trying to get them on money laundering and stuff, or lying to federal agents is always the same. Like when I had the FBI here one time and they were bringing up other subjects, I said, oh, I can't even talk to you. You'll just say I lied to you. So I just started telling them about their crimes till they left. James, what's the outpouring been like? Because your story's been on the Drudge Report. It's been on the news. I mean, it's been all over. I think it's really woken people up.
Well, I hope so. You know, it wasn't my intention to do that, to wake people up. It was just, you know, a food club that wanted to provide high-quality food. As you mentioned earlier, by the way, Alex, the entire Rawsome Club was basically a membership-only, private membership-only club, you know, and so therefore, you know, the public couldn't come in.
I mean, swingers can go to a private club and have sex with each other, yeah, but you can't sell in a private club potatoes.
Well, exactly, or anything else, especially surrounding raw dairy. Really, that's the crux of it now. But eventually, it'll be something that is a non-GMO product. You know, you gotta consume just GMO, and that's it. Rawsome always looked into what the problem with the food was. You know, by the way, let me share you briefly, so most people don't understand this. Words and terms are misleading. The word raw is misleading. The word cold-pressed is misleading. Why is it misleading? Because nobody has legally defined these terms. So when you go buy what you think is a raw product or cold-pressed oil, it's not. And that's the problem. The problem is anything under pasteurized temperatures is fair game to be called those things, and it's dead food. And yet...
Well, that's like calling total GMO natural.
Correct. And so what Rawsome was doing was looking into the source of everything and bringing that information forward and trying to find the highest quality products for everybody.
And you were getting popular, and so they said, just like the Liberty Dollar, which even the Wall Street Journal said it was totally legal to have the Liberty Dollar. It wasn't masquerading as a U.S. currency, and that guy's going to be sentenced soon and sent off down the river. I mean, they're going after everybody.
Yeah, popular is correct. We were becoming very popular, and after the raid of 2010, which is an obvious fact, we became even more popular because they shoot themselves in the foot by attacking everybody, because then people wake up and realize what's going on.
Only got a minute left. I want to have you back up for the full hour soon because you're a really smart guy. And I just want to hear your view on other things, hopefully before they send you off for 40 years we got to pay for in prison because you sell milk. Never a victim. They're not even saying anybody's hurt. Final statement here, James Stewart.
Alex, I heard you in the beginning of the show talk about food and what's missing in our food. Everybody needs to understand, you can eat 75% less food if it's high-density quality food, and minerals is the main key. All I really ever wanted to do was provide information for people about what the highest quality food is. Ask yourself the question, what's the purpose of eating or drinking anything other than the taste, the smell, the ambiance, the fun of eating it? It's getting nutrients or nutrition out of the food. This is food. Why are they after people who are providing high-quality food? Because they don't want you to be well.
Let's get you back up sometime next week for a full hour to take phone calls if you can. James, God bless you. We're going to find out more next week on what you're facing. Thank you so much.
Welcome, Alex.
All right, there we go. Set him up for next week, please. If you just joined us, we had James Stewart, a guy with no criminal record, who has now been raided twice and is facing 40 years in prison and was let out on $1 million bail. $1 million for selling papayas and potatoes at a private food club and raw milk. That, by the way, is legal. But they then manipulate all this legalese. I mean, they want to shut down grassroots in this country. The government has tax incentives to ship jobs to China where you get paid to shut down your factory and leave America. Do you think good guys are running the country? In Oklahoma, in Michigan, they're saying, we want laws, you've got to have a permit to have a backyard garden because you might grow something bad. You don't let prisoners have gardens. You don't let prisoners take care of themselves. Folks, you heard Steve Pachinik, famous spy, wrote, the books with Tom Clancy, assassin, overthrew governments, manipulated the situation, according to the London Telegraph, into the death of the Italian prime minister. He comes on air and says America's been taken over by mega banks and is totally corrupt and the government's pure evil. He wasn't talking like that a year ago. Ron Paul talks about CIA coups in this country. We've got a real problem in this nation. Now, while we're lining our guest up, we had some phone number mix-ups. While we're doing that, first, and we got big Bilderberg news coming up, I want to direct everybody here. You just heard James Stewart from Rawsome Foods, organic food experts, saying it's all about the minerals and vitamins. And if you believe in what we're doing here and like to fund our news operation and get the best vitamin and mineral systems that I found anywhere while it's still legal, because they're trying to ban it for over-the-counter sale, just vitamin C, you name it. Beyond Tangy Tangerine just has huge dosages of all the vitamins and minerals, the trace elements. And you're not going to find really other products out there that have all those traces in it, because most of the mainline folks say you don't need the other trace ones that are in there. But Dr. Wallach's research shows you need it to have it all kick off and work properly. The Cell Shield RTQ, the best antioxidant system out there. Rebound, great citrus punch, sports drink. It's got Super B in it and a bunch of other vitamins and minerals, and it's also got the best ginseng compounds and green tea. It'll supercharge you. Same thing with Pollen Burst. They're all just amazing. It increases energy, anti-aging, antioxidant, curbs appetite, reduces oxidative damage and stress. That's the Pollen Burst. Rebound. All of it available at InfoWarsTeam.com. And you can sign up and be a distributor member for $10 and get discounts. InfoWarsTeam.com. So you can buy the products. You can also sign up and be a distributor. InfoWarsTeam.com. There's also a phone number there on the site. InfoWarsTeam.com. Now, we have got the editor over at American Free Press, Mark Anderson, who did an incredible job last year in Switzerland covering Bilderberg 2011 in June. It's normally in early June, sometimes in late May, coming up to about 25 minutes. He's going to ride shotgun with us. Jim Tucker is going to be popping in and joining us. Jim Tucker, author of the Bilderberg Diary, and, of course, one of the editors there at American Free Press. And we're going to be breaking all of that down. Mark Anderson, again, has just done an exemplary job when it comes to exposing Bilderberg as well. And more as Jim gets older, the torch is getting passed to Mark Anderson. And this is important because Jim Tucker has been shot at covering Bilderberg in Europe, in Portugal. He's been arrested, you name it. I've been detained, arrested, threatened, had people try to set us up, trying to cover it. This is a big deal. And he's the only person who has real Bilderberg group contacts. He's able over and over again to tell you what's going to be announced months or years before with exact precision. And I know Mark more and more is segueing, taking the baton from Jim. Jim's still charging out, an amazing person. But Mark Anderson joins us to give us any intel on new developments. There's always the rumors that the globalists will rent a hotel they're not really going to use in another country. Then they'll get another one to divert people in the city, in the country they're going to be at. So here to break it down is Mark Anderson. Mark, thank you for coming on with us from AmericanFreePress.net.
Thank you, Alex. Thanks for having me on. It's been a busy 24 hours. I've been poking around over in Chicago about the current thing, and that's, of course, the upcoming NATO meeting, which very well could tie into this. As Jim will tell you later, Bilderberg tends to operate in the shadows of other meetings because even these wealthy billionaires try to economize and have their Bilderberg meetings not too far away from where they have their other confab. So there's a lot of activity in the Midwest with the NATO summit upcoming in May, but they're having prelims right now. The Chicago Council on Global Affairs met last night, and Nicholas Burns, a former U.S. representative to NATO, spelled out some of the NATO agenda, although in very general, broad terms for public consumption. And they're even having a mini NATO summit as we speak at Chicago Water Tower Place right now.
But they might also have it in Virginia because they moved the G8 that they were going to have with the NATO summit out of Chicago. But every 4 years, it's generally in North America. You're saying your intel is leaning towards the United States, not Canada?
Yeah, Canada's a possibility. They're having the Codex meeting up there in May. That seems less likely now. Jim and I just discussed this. It's kind of draw a card, discard, draw a card, discard. As you say, they kind of make dummy announcements to try and throw people off the trail. We've heard Haifa, Israel, in recent times that they might hold it there, which is a little disturbing. No reporter likes to go there too much. We don't know how good the security would be. We don't know how safe a reporter would be there in such turbulent times with the situation with Iran and all that. But I think that Virginia, as you say, they moved G8. I thought I had heard Camp David on G8. Is that right, Camp David, Maryland? Is that what you heard, Alex?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and so that kind of splits things a little because they were going to have the G8 in Chicago, as you know, with the NATO summit, the first ever NATO summit in the Windy City. With Rahm Emanuel there, I'm not too surprised, though. He's sort of a regional global administrator for a business outfit called World Business Chicago, which is a bunch of wealthy, elites and well-connected people that is a semi-official body of the city of Chicago. A typical mingling of public and private, which is what these globalists do. And so the chess men are being moved around the board. NATO is becoming more proactive. They're calling themselves the first responders of the world now, obviously departing from their traditional defensive posture.
As Jim said they would do a decade ago, that they were going to have that be the world army, NATO, and folks are like, yeah, North Atlantic Treaty Organization is going to be the world police. They now say, we are the world police.
Yeah, first responders. That means, when something goes wrong, they're the ones on the scene, but I have a feeling it wouldn't be with ambulances.
No, that's when they fund al-Qaeda to attack your country, they come in and bomb your country to back up al-Qaeda publicly.
Yeah, who knows what insanity lurks in the hearts of men. But anyway, long story short, Jim can give you a little bit more in the follow-up to what I'm saying now, but I'm watching the Midwest, especially NATO, having a preliminary meeting right now at Chicago Water Tower Place.
Have they ever met in Chicago before?
No, not the NATO ministers, not a full-blown NATO meeting. This is the first